Hey everybody, experimenting here. I tried to put a little music on here to see if it would work. Give me some feedback if that played or did anything like it was hopefully supposed to do. Trying to experiment again with this StreamYard program or whatever you want to call it that you can broadcast straight to YouTube. And as I said before, it's 3 p.m. or I haven't said it. It's 3 p.m. And this is the one I try to do on Wednesdays for basically people that are in Europe. I figured it's probably easier for them to get onto this one than the ones that I do on Monday nights. So anyway, gonna wait and see if I get some responses here as I finish prepping up things. And we have Rick, Jack, Gary, Leonard. Yes. Glad you're all here. Tell me if that little music thing worked. I don't know, because I'm playing it on my laptop, and the mic on the camera is supposed to pick it up. I don't know how else to do it. Otherwise, I'd have to plug in a speaker, maybe have it aimed at the thing. I don't know, but just something to play with. Also, what's the other thing? Here we go. See if this works. Bing! Look at that. Got the little Joe Daddy's logo up there, floating in space. There's other things I can do with this, but I don't know how to make it all work just yet. I know that there's other, like I said, other things I can do, but I just haven't figured it out yet. Hey, nobody, glad you're here. Monday night session went pretty well. Hey, Trevor, from the open freeway. Okay, so you're listening on the road, I guess. I hope you're not watching. I guess you're just listening. I guess that would be the inclination. So anyway, glad you're here. The live stream on Monday went pretty good. It was actually 3 hours and 5 or 6 minutes long. We had some different people on there. We had Harvey, we had Jorge, so that was cool. Of course, they were both in New Jersey. And like I said, this one, if I'm trying to get people from different parts of the world. Yeah, Trevor, good for you. That's probably a good plan. So I'm going to post my email. Try to get this typed out right. All right, Jack, good. Whoops, let me get my bell right. This bell is sticking. Something's wrong with it. Hey, Scott. Let's see. Garage at. That is probably something I could do. I could probably make that a banner. I wonder if I could do that. Let me see if I can build a banner. Oh. Let me try that. Let's see what happens. I don't know. It's not on there. Oh, wait a minute. There we go. Look at that. Look at that. I figured something out. Now you can see the. Yeah, I got it right. Joe Daddy's Garage at gmail.com. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. So RJ is listening from under his truck with his phone. Okay, cool. Karsten, glad you're here. Denmark, right? Denmark. Trevor, 75 with a 35-foot goose with a 40-foot Connex. Oh, all right. Footage Factory, that's Steve, right? I want to say Steve. And yeah, look at that. I'm all high tech. Woo woo. And yeah, you wonder where Kev Chat went? No idea. That's a good question. Maybe he'll show up later. I don't know. All right, Carson. Good. I try to make those connections. Try to remember things. Like I said, I'm on Monday night. Jorge, glad you're here. Sean, Hi Barry, how from Canada are things today? How from Canada? Wait a minute, what? I think you skipped some things. I'll say hi to Canada, and things are going good. Things are going good. Nice weather. Trying to get stuff done. And we have Ricard checking in from Sweden. I don't know why that's so small now. Maybe it's because I have that scroll going underneath. Normally that fills up the screen, but I guess that scroll at the bottom is out of place. Yep. Thank you for the thumbs up, Footage Factory. Hey, from Wisconsin. Great. Glad to have you, Dave. Rick, I'm at work again. I'll be in and out as we do have maintenance to do tonight. Well, good. Glad you're here anyway. I mean, if nothing else, you can listen. And hopefully I get some other people sending me, requests to be on here, because it's really fun to have other people in here and talking. And I'm opening up my Gmail. I forgot to open it. Okay. Yeah. I've been getting these emails from a guy from Arthur, and man, he's doing a great job on a '69 Mustang. Sending me pictures. Very jealous. Good looking car, and he's doing a bunch of work to it. Yeah, I think he's got it into like a blue mist paint. Yeah, I figured as much. Thanks, Scott. But we had, like I said, a couple people on during the Monday night broadcast, and again, if we have somebody else wants to get in here, that'd be great. Let's see. Oh, we got Stephen. Hello from the UK. Even the wife, Jillian. I'm guessing that's how you say that, right? Jillian is watching. Well, glad you're here, Steve. You get a bell because you got your wife to sit in and watch. Uh-oh, look at this one. This is a new one. Wow. Greetings from Tirana, Albania. First time here. What cars do you actually restore? American cars only? You have a garage as a business or for hobby yourself? That's a lot of good questions. And I don't know. I don't know how to say the last name. I don't know what that letter is. B-O. I don't know how that works. B-O. That's a different letter than what I'm used to. So I'm going to go with Eno. I work on, I used to have a body shop years ago, so I worked on all kinds of cars, American cars mostly. And at this point, that's my focus, is American cars. It could be a Camaro, it could be a Chevelle, it could be a Mustang, whatever, just something for me to work on. I like working on old cars. The garage, we used to have a business, have a body shop business. That's gone, thankfully. That's gone. And so I do it at my home shop. And that's what this is right here. This is my home garage. Nothing really huge. I do it as, kind of, I don't know, I guess in some ways a business, but mostly it's just for my own peace of mind. I do work on other people's cars, and of course I get paid for doing that, so that's fine. But it's not like a commercial business where you would bring in lots of vehicles and stuff like that. So on my own, I'm going to take that. Let me see if I can get that banner to slide off of there for a second. I want to see if the comments pop up. But that was a good. I'm glad you're here. You get a bell for being from Albania. I've never had anybody from Albania, so you're the first. And I'll give you a bell for that. And if you don't know, if you haven't seen this before, I just like to give a bell notification for good comments or good questions or good answers. So I'll give you a bell because you showed up from Albania. Let's see, Footage Factory. I'll video in when I put some clothes on because I want to ask you some floor part questions, I suppose. I don't know why that banner got small. Something must have changed with the. Let me try this. Let me see if I can take this off. If that changes the size of the comments. I don't know why, because it was larger before. Yeah, that was a lot bigger before. I don't know what I've changed. I messed something up. Let me see what this does. Okay, so that's a bigger thing there. Huh. All right. So I'm still figuring this out. As I said before, I normally would do the StreamYard as one option, or I would do OBS Studio, OBS Studio, Streamlabs OBS, sorry, as the other option. And with StreamYard, I have the option to bring other people in to the video. So that's pretty cool. 84, I'm going to try to get a $99 around 1,500. Need some work, maybe restoration. Yeah, why not? Okay, wait a minute. I got one back here. Dave says, ask the guys from across the water, are there many original Mustangs over there? That's a good question. So viewers and friends over in Europe, are there very many original Mustangs? I don't know how to make that, like, are there hundreds? I don't know how to label it, in a scale, but it's a good question. Let's see. Bandits Info Channel. Can I get a bell for being a firefighter in these crazy days? Thanks. Sure you can. Gladly give you a bell for that. Thank you for doing your part. Let's see. Oh, wow. Okay, so that's a different name. That's a tough one there. I don't know how to say that. I want to say Joteres, but I'm guessing it's probably the J is a Y, at least in the U.S. I don't know. I really like the channel and incredible things that you can. Oh, okay. I get it. You like the channel and the incredible things that are happening or that I do. Congratulations. That's what he's saying. Thank you. I appreciate that. All right. You're here, Robert. Good. Let me check my inbox because we have Steve from Footage Factory. He is. Oh, wait a second. I gotta make sure I do this right. He sent me a picture. He said his dog is watching my live feed. So that's really encouraging. All right, we're gonna send him an invite and go back to the comment section. So let's see, 84C30. I'm looking for a black hot rod paint. Looking at black hot rod paint. It's got silver glitter in it, and the truck needs a paint job. What could go wrong? Yeah, you could do that. I've sprayed hot rod black before, but it didn't have really any silver in it. All right, so Ricard in Sweden has lots of original Mustangs. Let's say they count in the thousands, 65 to 73. Wow, thousands. That's pretty good, really. You think about it, that's pretty good. Footage Factory, Steve, I have the same question about overseas Mustangs because my wife and I have a house in Scotland and are considering shipping and selling American cars over. Wow. That's cool. I don't know if anybody has any answers for Scotland or not, but that would be cool. GM guy, John, glad you're here. Let's see. PS3, I recently purchased a 65 coupe. I'm looking to replace the floor pan. Do you recommend replacing the floor as a whole or save money and replace the front half separate from the trunk half? To replace the floor pan, do you recommend replacing the floor as a whole? Well, that's a good question. It depends on your condition of the vehicle. Let's go to that point first. I'm a fan of the one-piece floor with the frame rails, torque boxes, all that stuff pre-installed and welded together, and you slip it up under the car and put it together. I'm a fan of that. Now, if you have good frame rails and torque boxes and that sort of thing, consider putting a one-piece floor pan section up front. You can do the side-by-side pieces, but if you can do the one piece, get it in there, that takes care of, eliminates weld seams, and it makes it look cleaner, of course. And then you could do the transition panel that goes above the frame rails behind the seat. You could do that separately. So I don't know that they sell it in one piece. I don't see how you get that in the car unless it's the full frame section like I did you do for the Dynacorn setups. So first point is what condition is it in? Second point, look at doing the one-piece floor in the front and then the transition in the back, and they sell that piece in the back also as a transition with the panel drop-offs on the side where it goes on top of the frame rails. In the Mystique Mustang, I actually took, I was provided with that piece from Dynacorn, and I sectioned it because I didn't want to go all the way into the front section of the car. So I actually transitioned it midway up the hump over the axle and welded that together. So there's a lot of variables in there. Check out the Mystique playlist and look at that and see what you think. RJ, there are a lot of Mustangs here in Norway, some original and some modify. I think there are thousands here also. Well, that's cool. Let's see. Bob, late getting on, took delivery of GT40 head parts I'm working on. Cool. That's awesome. Karsten, Denmark, there are lots of Mustangs, but not as many as there are in Sweden. Okay. So I'm gathering that there's still a good many Mustangs over in Europe. That'd be my guess. Ricard, at any given day in the summer, when traveling highways and freeways here, you'll see more classic American cars out and about than I've ever seen during my visits to the U.S. I'm not surprised, because here, I don't know, it's become hazardous. Good way to put it, I guess. Driving a classic car here, you get people. I've never driven. I don't know anything about how they drive in Europe at all. I mean, I know wrong side of the road and all that stuff, but I just there's a lot of people that are distracted drivers here in the U.S. So if you take out your classic car, there's a good chance some kid in a Toyota is going to run through a stop sign and plow into you, or a red light or something like that. Happens all the time. And I think those of us with the classic cars are kind of, a little more apprehensive anymore. We're trying to protect our investments, let's say. But I'm glad they're driving them out there in Sweden. That's awesome. Let's see. Oh, we got Greg checking in. Hey, Greg, if you haven't seen Greg's channel, it's Greg Workshop, and he's in Australia. He's the one that had the Ford Cortina that we did the Viewers Project video on. So you can check out Greg's channel. He built some cool stuff, and I know he's still learning. He's still learning the ins and outs of YouTube and how to get the best shots and different things like that. But it's still good stuff. He's progressing, and I know right now he's building a forge. And if I remember right, correct me if I'm wrong, Greg, I know you were looking for somebody to draw a dragon. You wanted to put a dragon on the side of this forge. This forge, I think he said, is 19 inches long by 13 inches tall, I believe. And I know he was waiting on parts to show up. He's having trouble getting the parts to finish the build. But give a chance and give a look at Greg Workshop. And just like it's spelled there, there's no S on the Greg. S is just Greg, Greg Workshop. And he's got a really, I like his shop. He definitely knows what he's doing. He knows how to build things. So let's see. Steven, what channels do you enjoy watching? Well, one of them I actually mentioned was Greg Workshop. I like to look at Andrew and the Grease Rookie, building his 65 Mustang. My buddy of mine, RC Guy Garage, I watch him for his stuff. He does some pretty cool stuff with RC cars and trucks. Occasionally I will watch Scotty Kilmer, just because he's a little hard for me to keep up with and watch consistently. He becomes kind of irritating when it seems like he's yelling at you the whole time. But there must be something good with his channel, because he just posted that he's had over 1 billion views, 1 billion views on YouTube since he started. So anyway, Scotty Kilmer. There's several others that I can't think of at the moment, but I try to look at a variety of things. I don't want to focus on just one particular venue, let's say. Yep, lots of crazy drivers in the U.S. I'll give you that, Bill. That's for sure. Trevor, Barry, have you or anybody else here know what headers I can put my 68 Mustang 351 Windsor and trans? Trevor, I'll say this, and I know there's a slight difference between the Windsor and the 302, 289, but the headers I have on the Jade Mustang, the 68, those I had bought through Summit without any prior knowledge. I just bought them through Summit, and they were ceramic coated, and they fit. They fit perfect. Now those are also if you look at the video, I did a video on those. If you pull them out of the box, it says Patriot was the brand, the company that made those. So Patriot brand headers. We have Steve queuing up. So let me catch up on a couple of these. Okay, so he's playing with his camera. I can see his little preview. He's playing with his camera and trying to do different things. Let's see. Oh man, I've got a bunch of people. Oh, okay, Arthur. Yeah. Arthur's the one that sent me those pictures just recently, and I should share some of those. I may have to share some of those. Man, that thing looks sharp. I'll give you a bell for that, Arthur. That thing looks sharp. Leonard, Ricardo got you about. Oh, okay. He's building the jack. Let's see. Only in UK, even in Sweden, they now drive on the right side. Let's see. Sweden had left-hand driving, but changed in 1967 to the right side. See, they did it right. Let's see. Yeah, I know. Scotty Kilmer is it's like he's yelling at you the whole time. I don't know if he knows how to tone it down, but man, let's see. Andrew Harrison, glad you're here. All right, looks like Steve finally put some clothes on. He's been walking around in front of his camera, half naked. So he finally put some clothes on. So I'm gonna let Steve on now.
What's up, man?
Hey.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good. I got me a few questions. So with my floor being rusted, I ended up cutting it out.
Yeah.
I got some deal up there. It's the same thing on the other side too. I ended up buying some floor pans from CJ Pony.
Yeah.
And when I watch you do it, you go balls to the wall and you take the whole thing out, and I just don't have the same skill that you do. So I was wondering if I got a nibbler. I got it right here. We got this little nibbler.
Yeah.
And I was just gonna cut it out and do it in sections. I was gonna cut this in sections and put that in there. Do you like that idea?
No. Not really.
You like the whole thing?
I'll be honest. I'd rather do the whole thing, because now you've got this piece and this piece and this piece. You're welding a bunch of patches together. I'd rather not do that. I'd rather do one continuous panel and know that, because what's under the seat riser? Do you know what shape it's in?
Oh, I don't know. No.
See,
I'm afraid to take it off because I don't really know how.
I showed the videos.
Yeah, but I just don't have the skill.
Oh man, just
start overdue for me. Just overdue for me.
No, really though. I mean, if you really want to, you can do that in sections. I just prefer not to, because I don't know what condition it is under the seat riser, and so unless I know that thing is solid as can be, I'm welding to unknown.
Yeah.
And then you're like 6 months later, if that rusts out, well then what?
You know what? So that brings me to my next question, which they kind of relate. And I've been trying to ask this for the last few days. And so when I installed this, I didn't do the tubbed version. In fact, I had the tubbed version, but they sent me the non-tubbed version because the Detroit was just too much work, and I don't have the skill for that.
Okay.
So I was figuring, screw it. I don't need the tires to be wide internal. I can kick them out. That's a cool look.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, and I watched you in your video, and you're like, oh, I can get the roller, or I can leave it at the 245. And I mocked that video. I mocked that picture with the 275. That's why it was so kicked out.
Okay.
And I guess my question is, if I'm gonna if I'm gonna put, because I end up buying these fenders from a company. If I'm gonna do that, I have to cut this. Are there any precautions that you have for cutting this? That maybe should I start low? Is there any things I need to watch out for?
Well, you're gonna cut out both the wheelhouse and the quarter, right? Did they give you instruction?
No, he didn't. Yeah, his instructions are pretty weak. That's why I'm kind of
No.
afraid, you know.
Nice of them. Have you seen any videos of people doing that?
No, I got Mike Meyer doing it, but he doesn't explain it all that well. I'm not sure if you know Mike Meyer. He's got the wide one.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember where I saw some pictures somewhere online where somebody had put on.
I know what you're talking about, but that's some hardcore fabrication, and
right.
I don't have that skill, you know.
Yeah. Man, the tricky part is going to be once you start cutting, because you're going to have the quarter and it wraps around the wheelhouse, right? So you got two flanges there. If you go back and look at any of my videos, the Mystique videos, the Jade, any of those, you can see the wheelhouse has a flange, and then the quarter sits on, underneath it, and they're spot welded together around the radius. So if you're going to put that on and expand the shape of the wheelhouse, you have to consider what has to go away. So you're going to have to make the quarter bigger, and then the wheelhouse has to be cut bigger, and then you're going to have to make a channel for that. Mm-hmm. You're going to have to make something to connect, because once you cut the wheelhouse, it's going to get shorter. It's going to go inboard. So you're going to lose material. So you're going to have to make something to fill that gap to come out and catch the flange of your flare. Just think about that whenever you get to that point. If you decide to even do it, it's a pretty daunting task. To me, that's harder than doing the floor pans. I can tell you that. Okay. Now, I did a version, and let me see if I can find some pictures. I mean, if you want to show your car and talk a little bit,
okay.
Let me see if I can find these pictures I had, because I did work on a '68 Mustang that was a drag car, and I had to rebuild the wheel arches, and so I don't know if I have pictures specifically of that process.
So another thing I have is I bought a roller, and it'll be here in the next few days, and I'm almost even considering doing the roller, because the roller, it'll kick it out a little bit and it's less work. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I'll talk to your guys and give them a little bit of history on this Mustang. It's a '65 Mustang coupe. I installed the front TCI suspension off of Joe Daddy's. I must have watched this video 30 times, 7 times one day for sure.
Hey, I'm going to pull myself off the video for a second, so you go ahead.
No problem. So I used Joe Daddy to install this front end. It took me about 2 months to rip all of the suspension off, just completely rip it off. I have a bunch of videos on my page where I show that, but I wish I would have done a little bit more. I wish I'd had a little more footage. Hence the name Footage Factory. 65 Mustang coupe. I just got it back from being blasted. It used to be red. The roof isn't in the greatest of shape, but I don't care. This thing isn't going to be a show car. I just want this thing to drive fast. Oh, if you guys go to my page, you'll also see I've got a Coyote. I even ran it where it sits right there on the engine stand. And I'm going to end up putting this Coyote in this larger engine bay, because this TCI kit really expands this this engine bay. I did want to have a wider look with the fenders, so that's something that one of the reasons I'm on this chat right now is because I want to learn how to do that, and I'm also considering just sending it to the guy who did the blasting and just having him do it. So actually, I wonder. Let's see if there's let's see what we got for for chats. Anybody? So there was a guy in the UK. You on? Oh, what was your name? It was your wife's name's Jillian. Your name's Steven. That's right, Steven. Where in the UK are you? Let's see. I'll do like Scotty Kilmer. Hey, Steven!
Okay. All right.
I'll pretend like I'm Scotty Kilmer. Steven and Jillian.
Yeah. I wasn't able to look at what you were showing there because I was trying to get pictures together. But what I did, this car was, let me see if I can get it figured out how I need to do this. This car was actually drag raced over in Europe, and we rebuilt the thing for the guy, and I'll show you the pictures here. Let me show you this real quick. This took some work because if you look at this thing here, this thing had 31-inch tires on it. Okay, 31-inch drag slicks. Okay, and I know I can't point at it. I know you can't see my mouse on the screen, surely.
Sure.
But this flare is actually 3 sections of quarter panels. What I did is I cut off the original piece or whatever was butchered onto this thing because it was all Bondo.
Okay.
And I bought skins, and I cut the skins, and I moved them. I spread them out wider to make the flare bigger. So let me see if I can pull up another.
And when you say skins, do you mean just like I forget what gauge this is, but let's see, like a sheet metal like this?
Hold on a second. Let me pull this one off. Show me again. I mean, actual quarter skins, the actual quarter panels.
Okay.
I use the flare for the original quarter panel. So here's another picture. Let me show you this. Look at this. See that?
Yeah.
Now, at the bottom of the picture, you can see part of the rocker panel. Just the bottom of it, just the edge of the rocker panel on that car. I actually cut off 2.5 inches of rocker panel. Forward to make the wheel opening big enough to handle these 31-inch. Because I put a rocker panel on this car too.
Oh, wow!
So just you have to envision where it's going. So let me pull that one off, and I'm gonna show you another picture because this one was a lot of work, but it turned out super nice. And here it is with the drag slick on it.
Huh? Look at that.
So you can see just how big that tire is.
I don't necessarily want my tire that big, but what was the width of that? Was like a 305?
Oh gosh, those are probably like, I mean, they're like 12 inches wide.
Oh, that's tubbed by the way. That's probably tubbed too, huh?
I don't know. I don't know if it actually had tubs in it or not. I'm gonna pull this one down, and I'm gonna pull up one more picture because, like I said, this car was really cool. One day he's gonna finish it.
Me too. I hope.
Well, let's put it this way: this car was painted 2007.
Oh shit! Wow.
Okay, so there it is with it, and you could not tell that thing had customized quarters on it.
Yeah. I might just throw this thing to your place in Georgia. Yeah. I might just I'm just gonna Google you till I find your address and show up at your front house and be like, Barry, do my flares. I'm just
letting you know it's gonna be work because even if you just have that shape, that's only part of it. You have to have something to hold all that together.
Yeah. It just can't dangle. And that's another thing too, is that when I take this thing, if I drive this thing semi-fast, 60 miles an hour, I need it to have structural rigidity,
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, good questions, but you need to do some more research.
I guess my last question before you boot me, like I was saying earlier, so my wife and I, we have a place in Scotland, and I was going to ship my truck, and I was like, Jesus Christ, like my truck, the depreciation is horrible, but just like it adds like $20,000 just having it over in Scotland. And my wife goes, "What do you think the price of the Mustang or other American cars are over there?" And I'm like, "I don't know."
Yeah, I don't know
So
either.
maybe some of your viewers could just give me a feel for the demand,
Well, and I know we talked to Brendan from New Zealand. He was talking about the money it takes to get a car over there, and it has to be rust free. It can't be,
Yeah.
it's got to be really.
Yeah, I mean, good thing I got this blasted, so that does help. But I mean, even under that riser, like you're saying, like I really got to inspect a lot of places.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. So all right, dude. Yeah. Thanks for having me on, man. I'm gonna be on every single freaking time until this car's done. By the way,
that'll be fine. I'll be happy to have you.
For all the viewers out there, be sure to watch the ads for their entirety. That's what I do, man. I got Oral-B and I got Cologne, and I just watch them, and it helps Joe Daddy's page out. So for sure,
I appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
I see your comments.
Hey, dude. See you later, man.
All right. See you. Glad you're here. Yeah. All right. So Steve has some interesting questions, and like you said, that's a tough thing to try to come up with a flare that's going to look right and then also be supported, because as we cut away material and you eliminate structure, you have to rebuild that structure somewhere. So good questions. Carson says all he sees when he travels in Sweden is mostly big old American cars like Buick and Cadillac. If this is not right, okay. So he's asking for Ricard to back him up on that. And Ricard says, Carson, you are correct. Full and midsize are very popular here. Cool. That's very cool. Let's see. Yep, Robert, the fewer the welds, the better. You are right. When he's talking about that floor pan and trying to section it in, anymore, going back, I would probably rather, like the Jade Mustang, I probably should have put a full pan in that thing, but I'm not changing it. I'm not messing with it. I'm happy the way it is. But the idea of putting a full pan in there, you eliminate any overlap welds on the tunnel, and you're basically just welding on the edges where the frame supports are, or floor supports, and then training cross member. That would be a better way to go. Yep, I agree, Greg. Do the whole thing. You're right. Trevor says, "Hi, Steve." Yeah, Leonard, do the whole floor pan. You'll be happier. Yep. Let's see, Robert, those fender flares will be much harder than the floor pans. I agree 100% with that. Karsten, my son living in, I don't know how to say that. The O with a slash in it throws me. I'm just going to say Göteborg. I don't know. I don't know how do you say an O with a slash in it? I don't know how you say that. Am I saying that right? I don't know. So I'm a lot over there, and you drive them more than we drive them here in Denmark. Okay. So I don't know where. I guess that's got to be Sweden. What is that? I don't know how you say an O with a slash. I don't know. That's all foreign to me. Let's see. Greg, I did mine in my car. Yeah. Fiberglass wide body flares, will that help Steve? That's a good question, Trevor. I don't know, but he's planning on putting bigger tires on it, so he has to have room for those bigger tires. Just having the flare may not be enough. I know he's wanting width, but width also generally comes with height. Without knowing exactly, exactly how he wants it, it makes it really tough to give a good answer for that. I'll post this again. Let's see. Here we go. Yep. If you want to be on, there's the email. Oh, right there. joedaddysgarage@gmail.com. And if you send me an email, I'll send you a little response, and you can be on the chat, and we can talk about your project or anything else that's going on. This is good. I like this. We got We got 37 viewers. That's cool. I can try this again. Put the brand back up in the corner. I don't think I can move that though. I think it's going to stay. It has to stay in that corner. You know, and I was showing these pictures earlier. This car, I did a lot of work to this car. 68 fastback, and this is the car that I have the fenders from, the front fenders, and I'll probably use one of them on the Jade Mustang. But those, it's hard to see, but I have these pictures on my Joe Daddy Facebook page. But like I was telling him, the pieces front and rear, yeah, I think it's like 3 skins that I cut up, 2 or 3 skins that I cut up to make the flare, because the original, what was on the car was just junk. I mean, it was full of Bondo and hardly any metal. And he wanted this to look right. So that's what we ended up doing. And that picture there shows, again, the much better transition. And like I said, that rocker panel, it was, and I think it was 2.5 inches that I cut off the end of the rocker and moved it forward to match the radius for the wheel opening. And then, of course, there it is on paint. Sharp car. I know he's still working on it, and I know he wants to get it. He wants to get it together. He's got work to do, and we'll see if. Scott or Steve asked about fiberglass. Well, you just remember, I mean, you could do fiberglass, but you better have some structure there. You still got to have the quarter and the wheelhouse connected to each other. You can't have it floating in space. It won't stay together. It'll vibrate, come apart. Okay, RJ. That doesn't help. That doesn't help at all. I don't know what that is. O with a slash, A with a leg, and an A with a hat. I don't know what those. Yeah, it's a thought, Trevor, but again, it still has to be solid. Once upon a time, Power from UK did a search in Mustang. Did a search and a Mustang 66 fastback right-hand drive. 20. I don't know what the 28 is. 28 is P. I don't know what that. 67,495 pounds gives you an idea. I'm sure that's some sort of ratio there, but let's see. Whoops. Just an idea. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So Robert's going to be checking in here for a little bit, and he was considering plastic fenders. Well, yeah, that's a possibility, but again, you still have to have some sort of structure underneath there to hold that thing together. I'm just forewarning you. Got to have something solid. Okay, so ZZ Top Johnson. I think he meant Gothenburg, Sweden. That's probably right. Gothenburg. Okay. Well, I still don't know how do you, not that anybody can tell me, I'm sure, but the little circle, the O with the slash in it, I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. That's Elon Musk's kid's name. Okay. I saw that. I think he was was it QT Pi? Letter Q, T, and then 3.14. QT Pi, I think, is one of the kids' names or something. 289. Oh, okay. P's for pound. Yeah, I figured that. 40,000 quid. Oh, come on now. You guys are getting all over the place. Next will be dinero and what's lira? I don't know. There's all kinds of. I don't know what quid is. How much is quid? I don't know what that means. I don't know how to figure that out. Okay, so once upon a time says hang on. All right. We're hanging on. Yeah. This is good. This is good. Okay, so quid is quid pound. Quid equals pound. Is that what you're trying to say? I don't know. It's all confusing. Okay, so here we go. GM guy, quid, euro, dollar. Well, yeah, but we don't know the difference, but how much each one is. You need like a or a comparative chart, like $1 here, 1 quid is here, pence is here, whatever, pound. I don't know. It's hard to. Anyway, let's see. All right. Okay, so quid equals pound. Quid to pound as buck to dollar. Okay, so quid is slang for pound. Man. All right. So I'm learning something. I'm going to go give somebody a bell. Somebody gets a bell for that. I don't know. Anyway, I hope Darlene shows up. She had emailed or sent a message on my last live stream that she was given the notification for the Monday night live stream on Tuesday, which seems really odd. Usually, I think YouTube does a pretty good job keeping up with, letting people know when stuff is on. But I don't know if she's a nurse up in Alaska, so hopefully, if she's not working, she can get on here as well. All right, Karsten, you can't make that sound. I'm sure. You need to be born and raised in Denmark to do that. Yeah, it's kind of like what is it, like Iceland? Is it Iceland where you can't learn that language unless you were born there? Except for that one guy. There was some guy who was he was some sort of savant. He could learn anything, and he lived there for like 2 weeks and learned the entire language or something. But yeah, there's lots of sounds from European countries, let's say, or even any of Russia, all these different places where we don't make that sound, or the English language seems a little less, doesn't have as much variety of sound. Battery burnout in Scandinavian languages. I don't even know, what do you call that? We say O. What is the O? What is the O with the slash in it? The vowel written as O is pronounced more or less as you expect, but O is pronounced roughly like the I in sir. I'm not getting anywhere with this. Thank you for Googling that, battery burnout. Thank you for that. RJ, I have tried to learn Americans to say, but they can't do it. You know what? We could probably do it, but we just wouldn't have to know what we were saying. In other words, you would have to trick us. So it would have to be a word that would sound similar, but without that letter. You know what I mean? So we'd have to. I'm sure there's something in there that we would have that can make that happen. But we're capable, but our dumb minds just focus on the actual letters, and we don't see that the variance there. Once upon a time, I just did a search here in UK, and there's a '66 Ford Mustang Fastback, 289, power steering, air conditioning, up for sale, 67,495 quid. Okay, quid is pounds. Oh man, the letters used in Scandinavia. Okay, okay, hard going single fingered single finger typing. Yeah, I'm laughing too. All right, so let's see. You need to learn me. You need to learn me. You need to done learn me. And ZZ Top Johnson, 67,495 pound is equal to 75,000 US dollars. Okay. Wow. Well, that's, actually, that's probably not bad considering if it's a fastback and it's right-hand drive, 289 power steering, air conditioning, up for sale. Yeah. I mean, that's That's probably actually reasonable, but I don't know if that's in country for sale or if that's one that's for sale that to be shipped. I don't know how that if that's all the specifics of it. Steve says 67,000 is equal to 81,000. Okay, now it's starting to climb. So we're getting some variables in there. Okay, so we're learning a bunch about different languages, or maybe we're not learning anything. Let me see. All right, so I am going to send Robert an invite. Whoa, that's the wrong thing. No. Hold on. I tried to send him a picture. Here we go. So Robert gets an invite. He's going to tell us how things are in Texas. Yeah, you can't send. Once upon a time, you probably have to send me an email to get that on there. It won't do it on here. I think I could probably post a link, but otherwise, it won't work. Ricard. All right, so Ricard's checking out on us. Glad you're here, Ricard. I'm looking for updates on that Mustang. You got to get this frame rails done. I want to see progress. I want to see, maybe I can hold on, maybe I can, if I have, I'm going to pull up another picture here because Arthur, oh, maybe it won't show it to me. Wait a minute. Why is it not doing that? He sent me pictures on my phone, but they're not showing up on my regular email. Huh. Hold on a minute. Okay, so we have Robert in the house. Okay, so let me back up here a second. Trevor says it's 82 degrees in Vegas. That sounds lovely. That sounds really nice. I actually have, it's about 70s here, but I have the AC on right now. So Jorge has broken down the dollar per equivalency. So you multiply by 1.5936. So there's some good information. Thank you, Jorge. Appreciate that. And Steve, he's going to go get his door handles picked up from Powder Coat. Okay, cool. All right, so we have Robert in the house.
I'm here again.
There he is.
Can you hear the air conditioner running?
I can't.
Okay.
I can't hear anything. So.
Well, it's kind of warm and muggy today, so I turned the air conditioner on. It's right over there, and I mean, I can hear it, and I just didn't know if it'd pick it up on the microphone or not.
Well, can you hear mine running?
No, okay. But yours is a lot quieter than I got a 2-ton window unit, so
oh, okay.
Yeah, it's noisy.
I'm going to pull off that banner for the moment. So, how are things in Texas?
Oh, pretty good. Yeah, pretty nice weather today. Actually, it's been nice last week or so. So it's not 100 degrees, so I'm not complaining yet. Are
you getting work done on the car?
Yeah, I've been actually welding on the fender aprons, which has been going interestingly on the driver's side because the replacement firewall, the firewall floor pan section up there, the shape's just horrible. So you got to, have to do a lot of, take that. Yeah, okay, figure out. Take that little lip and bend it out, stretch it out to make it fit, because the bottom of the floor pan just doesn't stick out far enough like the factory one did.
Yeah.
So, I just got to you keep stretching it back, weld it on, and I plug weld it some, and then I'll just seam weld the rest of it, and you got to do what you got to do.
Yep. Yeah, it's all about massaging that stuff.
Yeah. I was going to ask you on that quarter panel you did. when you used multiple skins on it, did you just take like the big fat section and kind of just slide it around and just keep adding the fat sections and then thin it out?
That's basically, if I remember correctly, I started off with, it's been 13 years ago, and I probably he actually, the owner, probably has better pictures of it because I didn't even think about it when I was doing that to make pictures and stuff, or I may have, but they're gone. I don't know where they're at. But if I remember, that's basically what I did. I started off with a wide, and I arched it down. I used like 2/3 of one, and then I used another back half of the other one, and brought them out a little bit. It got complicated, but there were probably at least 2 split lines. So I had a fat section, and I may even have put the middle section in and hand massaged it out a little bit, and then brought the other pieces along. It's been
it makes sense. It makes sense. Oh yeah, also haircut.
Yeah, good.
We're doing haircuts here again, and like 2 inches of hair gone. So I'm much happy. Yeah, she won't let me do that.
I just what? It doesn't really matter because it's just I'm getting a stripe here in the middle, and I don't care anyway. It could all fall out, and I'd be happy. I don't want it. Go away. Just go away.
Mine in the summertime, it's like having a mop on top of my head. And then you turn over, and all that sweat's just coming down in your face.
So Trevor's saying his AC is on high and seat vents on. Being a trucker's fun, never can climatize. So he's on the road just listening to us ramble on about quid and pence and dollars and pounds, and trying to understand how to say the letter O with a slash in it.
Then start bringing euros into it, make it more complicated.
Yeah, there you go. I still don't know. We were talking about that O slash with an O, and he's saying it's got like the sir.
For some reason, I want to say almost like I want to pronounce it Gutenberg, but I know that's not right.
Yeah, that's because of Steve.
Yeah,
you're thinking of Steve. Yeah. Arthur's saying, "Are you kidding me? AC in your shop, but I don't know what to think about you guys." Yeah, I have AC in my shop, heat and AC.
Yeah. Well, when it comes to heat, I don't need much heat in here. I've just got little 50,000 BTU propane, torpedo heater, and I'll fire that up, let it run for 20, 30 minutes, and shut it off, and I'm done. Even when it's really cold, it stays warm enough. It doesn't take heat here, but everything, takes a lot.
I'm going to hold on, keep talking. As we're
now, I will say my building is a metal building, so it's all 2x2 square tubing with insulation wrapped around the outside. So all that insulation is squished between the 2x2 square and the skin. So essentially, all the framing that you see on the inside in the summertime those are 120-degree radiators because the heat comes right through. So the insulation helps some, but you're fighting a whole 4, 8, 12, 16, 120 hundreds of feet of radiators in here essentially.
Well, here's the thing, I did that video where I put in that mini split. It's been almost 2 years now, and the thing is still running like a champ. But I have this picture, and I'm going to show this picture because if I didn't have my AC, this is what I look like. That is, and that was on the day, I think it was in June, that I was putting that AC unit in, and I was just, it was horrible.
Yeah.
And I don't want to operate like that. So that's why, Arthur, I have air conditioning.
When I put mine in, actually a friend of mine helped me, and it was 100 degrees that day and humid. And because again, metal buildings, so you got to get the grinder out, and you're cutting a hole in sheet metal, cut a hole in that, and I'm standing on top of the bench there to get it in the wall where it is, and that was miserable. But once it was in and plugged in, it's like, this is nice.
Yeah. Well, here we have Karsten giving us an example. He says, I'm guessing he's saying we use this in the Army. If you want to make sure a person is a Dane, you make them say that. So if I'm assuming if the circle with a slash is the I in sir, is that red grid flid? Red grid flid?
It makes me almost want to pronounce it as an E in a way. If it's sir, kind of like a weird E.
I don't know.
I don't. Not a clue.
Basically, we don't have a chance.
No. No.
They'll find us out pretty quick that we're not from there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we just can't say anything. Hey Kim, glad you're here. Now I had an email from Once Upon a Time, so I need to look at that real quick just to see what he's sending me. Oh, it's a link to one of the cars that's for sale. That's 66 Mustang. Okay. Yeah, that car doesn't look quite as clean as I hoped it would. And I don't know if I can. Let me see if I can share that link. I don't know if I can, but I'll find out. We'll experiment here a little bit and see if that works. Now, I don't know if that is a hyperlink, if it works as a hyperlink or not, but that's the car that we're talking about that is pounds, quid, pence, and lira, and euros and stuff. Anyway. All right, Kim, I'm glad you enjoyed the live stream. That was good. You know, it's nice to have people in and out and on the stream. So did that come up at all, Robert?
Yeah, it came up as a, you can copy and paste it.
Okay, well, there you go. That's the car he's talking about on the ad.
Let me try to not screw this up real quick.
Okay. Leonard, that's what you look like in the summer here all the time. Yeah, and that's why I have air conditioning. You know, it's one of those things. That's why I insulated the shop. That's why I put in the seals on the doors. And I don't care if that thing runs all day long. I don't care. If I'm in here and I can sit here with it and not have sweat, I mean, I'm still sweating. I'm still sweating, you know.
Yeah.
But it's bearable. But if I didn't have good air conditioning or any kind of air conditioning, I'd be struggling.
Well,
really
and the big thing is just it gets the humidity out.
Yeah.
You know, even if it's not getting really cool, it's so much drier, so you're not covered in sweat.
Yeah. Okay, so now
I'm looking at floor pan on that car.
Once Upon a Time says lots of skin divers and Wedgwood benners. I have no idea. That must be that. That's an England thing, I think.
I'm not sure on that one.
Not sure. I don't know what that means. But anyway,
floor pan doesn't look bad on that car.
Well, I was looking at the front end. The nose looks odd. The fender extension looks out of place. The rock guard.
The rear bumper. Look right where the gas cap is on the rear bumper. Looks like it's getting in the back or backed into something.
Yep. Center of the bumper's pushed in. Quarter panel's bent.
Yeah.
That's way too much money. I mean, it's that car needs to make 99,975 miles at least once. Somebody put in a floor pan in it. But yeah, I'm going to say it's not worth that much money.
No. You could probably do better getting something and then having it shipped.
Yeah, that's going to need
anyway.
That's going to need a makeover.
And again, like any of these cars, by the time you start digging into it, you find out, you know, how bad is it really?
Yeah. Okay.
Ooh, trunk light's crooked too.
Once Upon a Time to you that reads £5 knot and 10-pound note. Okay, so skin divers and Wedgwood benners. That's what he's talking. Those are different terms for money, I guess.
I haven't heard that one. I have not heard that one.
I have no idea. I'm just going to I'll go to Europe and they'll just take all my money. You know, I'll just. Kim just finished putting together our 43 Jeep MB. Drove it for the first time in 14 years this afternoon. All right. I'll give you 3 bells for that. That's pretty cool.
There's a Jeep pickup truck just around the corner from us over here. And it's one of those that's like, it's going to sit there and, they're not going to let anybody buy it. It's just going to sit there.
Is it a scrambler?
I'm not sure. Can't see enough. I know it's a Jeep truck. I can't see enough of it to figure out
what. But is it like the CJ style nose on it, or is it the old style big Comanche looking thing?
I'm trying to remember now. It's been a while since I've seen it too.
Okay. Well, they also had the Jeep that looked like the Cherokee.
It may be the Cherokee one from what I can see of it. But like I said, it's been a while since I've seen it.
Yeah.
So and also there's a 1930s Ford truck that somebody has as lawn ornamentation sitting out in front of their house, and every time you drive by, you're like, why?
Yeah.
Why are you letting it rot?
I know where there's when we go to the lake, there's a truck sitting on the side that these people decorate every year. They put like 4th of July stuff on it, or Easter stuff on it, or Christmas stuff on it. And it's like I think it's a 37. I don't know, Ford. It's about a 37 model, but it's just, it's not pretty. It's just the cab is rusty, the bed is rusty, and it's like sitting up on blocks. It's like a permanent display they have set up there. So, but can you hear that?
Yeah, I can hear the dog.
It's not a dog. That's a bird.
I can hear it. It's squeak, 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 squeak.
Yeah, that's a bird. That's a bird outside my shop. I never heard that before. It sounds like I don't know if it's a goose or what it is.
Now I've got a truck question for you.
Okay.
And I don't. It's my grandfather had bought a truck many years ago, and it was either orange and black. It was orange with black fenders or black with orange fenders. We can't find a picture of it anywhere, and and it came out of the factory that way. And we're always been trying to figure out what it was.
It was a service truck for a gas company. It was those were, if I remember correctly, the gas trucks that would have paint jobs like that. It would either be, it would be like an Amoco or whatever the orange. I can't think of the name, but color together. But that's what those were. Those were painted up. I remember seeing those, and they were painted up to mimic the colors for that gas company, whatever. So look for that. Look for gas trucks.
That makes sense. Yeah, because the orange and black one makes. I can't remember whose cans were that color, but yeah.
Yeah, because you had like Kendall was one oil company, and you had Texaco, and you had. I know somebody will come up with it. Yeah, orange and black is the color choices, and I've seen it. I know I've seen that combination. So.
Yeah, I know I've seen it on the cans, the oil stuff, but I never put 2 and 2 together thinking it was, that truck would have been for that.
Yeah. Yeah, Rick Stevenson says that would be a J10 if you're Jeep. But it could be based on the year too, because the old ones, like the J10 was a version, but they also had the Jeep Scrambler, which was like based on the CJ. So it had the regular hood with the extended pickup looking body on it, and then they had the Comanche was another one that they had. That was the one from like 84, somewhere on there, whenever they came out with a new square body Jeep Cherokee.
Yeah, that was a kind of, it was a blocky kind of, it was
I like that.
Yeah.
And now that you mention that, a couple months ago I saw an ad on Facebook Marketplace. And I have to back up a little bit and tell a little bit of a story. But when I was in the military, I had a 72 Chevy 4x4 that I thought I would I was going to trade in. I was going to see what I could trade this thing in. So I took it to a Jeep dealer. Now, at this time, they weren't making you sign paperwork and stuff. They were just kind of like offering you a trade. And I was in the military, so they were trying to take advantage of me. So basically, I drove in my truck And the guy ticked me off. He said, "Oh, we'll give you $1,000 for that truck." And I was like, "1,000? This is a 72 short bed 4x4.
Mm-hmm.
Okay." And this is 80, 86, something like that. So it's still worth some money. And it's even today, they're worth more. But anyway, he ticked me off when he insulted me with the price. So, yeah, Trevor, it might be a turkey. I don't know. It could be a turkey out there. But anyway, I said, that sounds like a great deal. I said, here's what I want. And I made him come up with an order sheet for one of those Jeep Comanches.
Yeah.
I said, I want it with a brush guard. I want it with a lift kit. I want it with the roll bar on the back with the lights.
Mm-hmm.
I want all these. I want it like that. I said, you get one of those in, and I'll come back and I'll make the deal. So the guy did it. He ordered one of those. He called me up, and I said, "Oh, I changed my mind. I'm not interested." Well, I drove by the lot, and it was there. The color, everything I'd wanted, he had ordered.
Yeah.
It stayed on the lot for months and months and months. I don't know if whatever happened to it, but a couple months ago, popped up on Facebook Marketplace. It was an 88. It was not the one, obviously, I was involved with, but this is like maybe even newer, 88, 89, 90 Jeep Comanche pickup. It was red, had a brush guard on it. It looked immaculate. I'm telling you, the paint was original, and it was shiny and clean. It looked like it was parked in a garage all its life. And they had advertised it for $1,000. They wanted $1,000 for it. And by the time I got ready to make the call, it was gone. They gave that thing away for $1,000. I wanted to buy it just because, and then the other thing, speaking of Facebook Marketplace, yesterday, the day before, I don't even know if it's probably gone. It's got to be gone. There was a 67 fastback, basically a shell, that was put up for sale 15 miles from me. They listed this thing. Now, it said just the body. So the picture had no doors, no hood, no glass, no interior. It was a shell. But it had a good VIN number, and they said it was a 67 fastback GT. They listed it for like $1,200. $1,200. And I responded. Well, all of a sudden the only message, I didn't get a message back. I got a response. They changed the ad because that person said they had like 500 people comment, and they said, we are no longer selling. We will not sell it for this price. They said, now you can come bid on it. They said $2,500 minimum is their price. So I don't know whatever happened with it. I don't know if they sold it, but
I got a similar one for you. We were at the Pate swap meet at Texas Motor Speedway. I want to say this one was probably 3 years ago. And I've got a picture of it, but there was and I want to say it was like a 68. I'd have to look at the picture again. It was like a 68 convertible Chevelle. I think it was an LS6. The thing had been in a building, been in a fire. The whole thing was burned, gutted, nothing left. And they were running like 30 grand for this, this burned out Hulk because it was an LS6 convertible. I'll have to dig up the picture, but everybody looked at that and was like, yeah, right. No.
And it's just like there's I have an affinity for Studebakers, and I've talked about it before, I think, but there's a 47 Studebaker farm truck that is for sale here in Georgia. The guy listed it. Now this thing, he says, it only has like 12,000 miles on it or something, right? That's what he says. This truck has been through the ringer. The paint's all been primered over. It's been, repainted a couple times, different colors. It's got a flatbed on it. The interior's gone. And he says it only has 12,000 miles on it, right? And he listed the thing for like, I'm not kidding, like $28,000 he listed this truck for. And I said, you got to be kidding me. And I think I even posted it on on my Joe Daddy's Facebook page or somewhere. And basically the guy, he says, I don't care. That's what I'm asking. And it was some sort of car lot. And from what I gather, somebody had. In fact, I posted on a Studebaker forum, but the guy had one of the people had contacted him, and they said he set it up at that price, and every week he drops it like $50 until somebody. It's just ridiculous. But anyway, so here's a thought. It was a Union 76. I don't black and orange though. That's
76 had the orange ball.
Or Phillips. They were orange and black.
Yeah, I just wish we could come up with a picture of that truck.
Yeah.
One, but I don't know whatever happened to it,
Yeah. Yeah, Scott, I missed out on several deals like that where I've come across a good but you say you couldn't find anything on that truck.
Well, I was trying to find some of the information that people had in the family still had, and when my grandmother passed away, everything just disappeared.
Yeah.
So you know how that. Yeah. I assume that it's all in my uncle's basement.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, he had some pretty cool vehicles back.
Yeah.
Because he actually worked for the Chrysler stamping plant in Detroit, and he actually got to drive the back end. They were making fire trucks for a while. He got to drive the back end of a fire truck a few times.
Oh yeah.
So that would have been pretty cool.
Well, I had a friend whose his grandfather owned a gas station. And he had bought, I guess it was like a 50, I think it was a 55 Chevy Cameo,
mm-hmm.
and had it painted up like for the gas company,
mm-hmm.
for gas station. And he's told a story about it before, how it ended up getting sold to a relative, and turns out 55 Cameo is super rare.
Mm-hmm.
It may even have been a 56. I don't remember, but just super rare to even see those trucks. But he wanted to get it back and put it back to the, paint it up back like the gas company. Because I saw a picture of it, had the little light on the roof.
Oh,
had the lights on the side for the, spotlight stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it was pretty cool. I was just doing a little search here. If you go back, what year was that truck you were talking about?
The orange and black one?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I would probably guess that it would have been, let's see, 50s or so.
Okay.
In that range, it's been it's been a long time. I'm not exactly sure when.
Well, I'm gonna post a link here real quick, and you could probably. It's just simple enough. Just never mind. No, I don't want to do that. That's got like way too much.
Oh, yeah, 3 foot long.
Yeah, forget that. Anyway, I just did a search for Phillips 66 gas or Phillips 66 truck.
Yeah,
and that's what you need to see.
Yeah, I have to look that up.
Yeah,
it could be. I mean, it could be. It could be.
I'm going to post this again. So if anybody is interested, wants to jump on the chat, by all means, follow that link, or send me an email, and we'll get you on here and talk about stuff.
I'm just up here wasting time, talking to Barry. So somebody else get up.
Yeah, and I know you were talking. We emailed earlier. You were talking about you want to make a trip somewhere, go somewhere, do something. That's a great idea. What we ought to do is we'll go and we'll meet at Jack's house, and we'll shoot a video on Jack's 66 Fastback.
Jack's in Jersey, right?
He's in New Jersey.
Okay.
But I know they're on lockdown, whatever.
Yeah, that's the problem is, we could get there, but it's like, how do we deal with the stuff when we get there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know how that works. If they would. I mean, they're gonna let you fly in, I guess.
Yeah.
Rent a car.
No.
Then what? How are they gonna stop you from renting a car?
And fly in. You get there, and then they say, "Oh yeah, you can't do anything, can't go anywhere." Like,
yeah.
Don't know. I have no idea how they're doing that.
Yeah.
Now here
Yeah.
we're slowly getting back to normal. You know, traffic's been getting heavier the last few weeks anyway. It's been getting bad, bad for a while. But let's see. Restaurants are starting to open up. You know, you can get your hair cut now. Things like that.
Well, that's what we're looking forward to. We've been getting takeout here and there, and pizza, and getting fat, and it's tough. I would go to the gym 2-3 times a week, and the gym's not open, so it's kind of hard to get get into it, and do it at home and stuff. But here we go.
Yeah.
Arthur's saying, "Come to my place in Alabama. We don't have a lockdown. It's a free for all."
You never know.
Yeah. There you go. Once upon a time, I dare everyone to click the like button. Yeah, I dare them too. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Greg says Shell fuel truck. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be something with the fuel company. I know that, and I'm pretty sure it's Phillips 66. So
yeah. Well,
Arthur,
you'll get a kick out of this though. Well, I was welding on the fender aprons the other day, and I'm sitting in the engine compartment. Okay, I got my little stool I'm sitting on. I'm in the engine compartment. I'm working on some stuff on the inside, welding here. I stand up. I do one little weld, and I'm standing up. I got my hood on. I'm wondering, it's like, man, there's a lot of heat coming off this weld. I look down, and my safety shorts are on fire. I looked down. I was like, "Oh, no wonder."
Yeah.
No wonder all that. It's a lot of heat coming up. From
yeah. You suddenly feel a little like waft of heat coming up under.
Yeah. I just felt that little bit over here, and it's like, where is that coming from?
Where's that coming from? Why is my crotch so warm right now?
I'm gonna have to find some welding shorts or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, I have enough of them go down my shoes, and I got burns on my feet now.
Yeah.
When I forget to not put my feet out of the way.
Yeah. So Arthur needs to tell us where in Alabama. Otherwise, we can't meet him. Alabama's a big country, big state. A lot of ground to cover.
There's a couple airports there.
Yeah. And that's where we're going to be going to the lake probably this weekend and just hanging out a little bit. Cooking out a little bit.
Yeah, I went by the lake, my Eagle Mountain Lake the other day, and there were just one little area, there were 25 boats going out. There was a bunch of boats going out.
Yeah.
A little cool that morning for it, but yeah, quite a few out.
Well, that was, we had talked about it. We were going to go last weekend, but it got cold. It got real cold here, so that was a no-go. We canceled that, and that's fine because I was able to get the epoxy on Jade. I
still haven't watched the video.
Okay.
I saw it was an hour or something minutes. It's like, okay, I'm going to have to just do it in parts. I'll watch a little bit here and there.
Well, that's just it. Like I've said before, sometimes I get some people that say, hey, an hour or more is great,
Oh, yeah.
And then I've got some people like maybe, half an hour,
Yeah. Well, but it depends. It just all depends on what the content is.
Yeah.
If it's, for instructional content, if it's really good and there's a lot there, hey, that's what you need. You got to, you have to do an hour if you need an hour.
Yeah. Yeah. And that one, I just started going, and I probably could have done it in 2 segments, but I just was filming. And I'm like, I probably have a lot of footage here. And then I sat down to edit, and I think I edited that footage. It was probably 4 to 5 hours that I just sat in front of the computer, splicing, cutting, trying to narrow it down, because I think I've said it on Monday, I had more footage that I didn't even use. I said, this is getting way too long. I can't keep adding stuff to it. So at this point, the next thing I'm going to do is spray it with a high build. And I was thinking about it last night as I'm laying there, and I'm like, okay, I got to do this, got to do that, got to make sure this, make sure that, going through the sequence. And I realized that I have epoxy on the cowl, but in this last video, I actually taped off the cowl. I didn't spray more epoxy on top. So I'm thinking, oh, wait a minute. This morning I was I said, oh, I got to untape that cowl,
Mm-hmm.
scuff it all up good, and just go ahead and spray all that all in one time, get the shell
Yeah.
covered. And now I'm probably not going to spray the doors at this time, just because it's not, I don't know, it's not quite practical to do I probably won't. I don't know. There's one here behind me. That's one of the doors.
Mm-hmm.
And that one's probably ready to go. I just don't have, like the other door, the passenger side door still has the glass in it, but I sprayed the epoxy anyway because I wanted to get it covered.
Yeah.
But ideally, I need to get the glass out to get around the flange. Get all. You can't paint where there's a seal, so that all needs to come apart. And then secondly, I need to take the strip down the interior painted areas of the door, where it's going to be body color.
Yeah.
And that's not ready to go yet. So I may just.
That's like the pieces in, the inside of the doors and all the interior trim pieces that have the texture on it. And, it's like, there's not a good way to strip that anymore because the chemical strippers are just
weak.
Don't work anymore,
Right.
And it just, other than a chemical stripper, there's not a whole lot that works well on that textured metal to keep from messing it up essentially.
Right. Yeah. I think for me at this point, I'm not worried about the textured part because it's going to be a scuff and reshoot. I'm not even going to because on the driver's door, and I showed this in one of the videos, there was actually a bullet hole through this car. They had shot below the door handle, about that far below, went in, and then it came out through the textured area on the door. So I dollied that back in, welded it shut, and just bonded it. And the texture's gone. I mean, I can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna replace the door. Now, there was another. I mentioned this before. There was a guy. I can't think of his YouTube channel right now, but he did a vinyl wrap on the doors, and it was a texture. So even though the texture was gone, he was trying to mimic the texture on the doors, and it looked fantastic. He sent me pictures of it, and I think it's on his video that he had it wrapped. I mean, it looked fantastic. So that may be something I consider doing as well.
It's like I've got that that driver's door that has that dent on the inside panel, inside where the glass is.
Yeah.
The only thing I can figure is just when it was sitting, somebody was moving something, and something came over and hit it and bent it that way.
So
and
it made it out, right? It's an outie, right?
Well, it's the inside panel. Say if you're on the driver's side, you got here's outside and here's inside. It pushed the inside one like this and created this.
So it made a hump.
Yeah, and it's just and it's in the textured area, and I have it had to have been something that just got in moving something around. Or somebody had something, they bumped into it and they bent it, and I think I'm just going to end up replacing that whole door anyway. The passenger, I think I'm going to skin that. There's one little rust hole where at the bottom. I can fix that up. I can that one area I can fix it,
right,
and then just skin that.
Yeah.
I'm just we'll see.
Yeah. Rush is asking me what program do I use for editing. Well, I use Wondershare Filmora is the company I use. Pretty good company, or at least a good product from what I gather. And what I'm learning is there's a lot more to it. What I do, I mean, I'm comfortable with what I'm doing, but in some sense it feels very rudimentary. Right? The videos that I make, there's not explosions and not the crazy stuff, which is fine. But I'm also learning that I don't have to repeat. Like if I build a video sequence, and I have an opening title, and then I have like my Joe Daddy's logo, and then I have something else and some whatever sequence. It used to be that I would build each one of those as I went. So every time I started a new edit, I would build that first section and then add in other stuff. And now that I'm watching some YouTube videos, there's a guy he's fantastic. with information. I can't think of the name right now. It's Dave something, but he does tutorials on how to use Filmora. And so if he searched for Wondershare Filmora, he would probably pop up as the first guy. He's got long curly hair. I think he used to be a musician, and now he does this full time for the Filmora company. But just little things that you don't know or don't understand, he makes it pretty simple. And like, I think in the Viewers Projects video, if you watch through the sequence, at the end, I talk about adding, send me an email. So at this point, I have my email. It actually pops up, hangs for a second, and then drops back down. Well, I've learned now that I can save that. I can actually save that little function. And then when I need it, I just pull it down and drop it where I want it. So I didn't know that before. Or on that, I don't know if you saw that video with Wally I just did yesterday.
Yeah.
But like, I didn't know. I was trying for a long time to figure out, okay, I've got my screen, I've got me on it, but I want to do something in the corner, Well, I didn't know how to do it. And I finally figured it out. Like when I add pictures now, if I add pictures to somebody's Viewers Project, I can actually resize those. So I can drag them in and it'll highlight them on the screen, and then I can scale them so I can fit them in a corner or something, right? Well, it's the same way with that. I did that little bell thing. I took the bell and the 2 bells. Well, I was just goofing around with trying to figure out what I was going to say or how I was going to do it, and I thought I'll just do this, whatever. So whenever I came to editing and I had that thought in my mind, and I did the closing, I said, "You get 2 bells," and it's just because I had already done that. And so I was able to put that up in that corner and just ding ding, and it was just just neat little things that I don't know, but I'm learning. So that's why I feel like I'm getting better with with that editing stuff, but it's just doesn't come naturally. So
no, and I believe I understand, because I've looked at just simple editing programs, and first thing I'm looking at is like, I don't want to do this. I have no desire to want to edit anything whatsoever, because to me it just looks to be so tedious, and it's just not my idea of fun.
Oh, thank you, Scott, for a thumbs up. Appreciate that. Well, it is tedious, but I also, for some reason, for me, it's very satisfying that I can put it together, and I can make. In essence, it's a short film.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really what it is. And I mentioned this before. When I was in high school, I had visions of being a photojournalist. So this, now I'm more like a videographer. I'm able to do the footage and tell the story visually instead of actually typing something out, which is good, because I don't like to type. But so it's actually it's very satisfying for me. Even though I can sit there for hours and do it, it feels good to me. I like doing it. So
yeah, I tell you, if you're interested in machining videos at all, this old Tony videos, even if you're not interested in the machining, watch some of his stuff just for the quality of the filming and the editing. He is extremely good at it.
Who is this?
This old Tony.
This old Tony?
Yeah. But he does machining videos, and his editing and it's extremely good, and it's nice. You like watching it because it's just that well done.
Yeah,
and it's just something you don't see very often.
Yeah,
and there's TIG welding videos on there for you too.
Yeah. Well, I thought that was funny. Let me try this. Oh. Let me go back to my MIG.
So I'm guessing you don't really have a need for any of that Mon-El anytime soon, do you?
Probably not anytime soon. I wouldn't know what to do with it. I would have no idea. Speaking of the welding thing, I mentioned it earlier. I don't know if he's still on here or not, but Greg Workshop, if you haven't seen his videos, I mean, he's Australian, so he's got his accent, which you have to listen. That's the only difficult thing sometimes, is try to make sure you understand what he's saying. But he's a heck of a craftsman. I mean, he knows how to build stuff.
Mhm.
And like I said, he's building that forge right now, and he was asking for help. He wanted to put, initially he was going to weld it to look like it had rivets holding it together, and then he decided he didn't want to do that anymore, and he wants to have some sort of a dragon on the side of it. So I guess the mouth of the dragon looks like where you open the door. If you look at it from the side,
Yeah,
you open the door to have flame coming out. I think that's his concept.
that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah,
That'd be pretty
but
cool.
I mean, he's definitely knows what he's doing, you know, for building stuff.
Yeah.
It's really, really neat. So let me see where we're at here. I'm gonna see if I have any more. No more requests. I'm surprised.
Well,
You know what?
Somebody's got to get on here and want to be on here.
I'm gonna send a whoops. No, I'm not. That's the wrong thing. Hold on a second. Because Once Upon a Time is commenting. I'm gonna send him. He sent me an email,
Oh, cool.
but
Go for
he didn't send it. He said he's the one that sent me the Mustang link.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I'm gonna send him and I'll put him on a spot.
Yeah.
Put him on the spot and see if he wants to get on here and spend some quality time watching or doing this. But you know, I was talking about the editing and stuff. This guy, I mean, he could do some really cool stuff. Like he did a video where it was, and using the same program I have, where a guy like walked through the letters. Like you had a big, broad
Mhm.
name, whatever it said, like whatever. So just say Joe Daddy's.
Yeah.
And it was on the screen, and behind it was a scene of leaves and trees and stuff like that, and a road.
Huh.
But that was sitting in the middle of the road, like it was just, you know, floating.
Yeah.
And then he walked through it, and it like faded away where the letters were,
Oh,
and then it like came back together. I was like, oh wow, that's really cool. I don't
Yeah.
have that much time. Because some of the stuff does take a lot of time, but
Yeah.
for the most part, like I said, this Filmora, and you could, if you were interested, you could go to them and you could look at the free program they offer.
Mhm.
There is, but it puts their, if you don't buy it, it puts their watermark on it.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. But the thing is, I bought it for like, it's been several years ago. I think I paid $60 for it or something,
Wow. That's cheap.
and it's lifetime. There's no renewal.
Wow.
So I bought it, and it does automatic updates.
Oh, I was going to ask if they, you know, if they charge for updates or,
No,
you know.
but what they want you to do, the grand scheme of things, is they like give you some free music, some free titles, and you can modify the stuff. I mean, you can. Right now, I have probably from them alone on their sound audio files that they've given me for free. I bet you there's 40, 50 songs on there that came with it, and then there's other options,
Mhm.
other effects that you can buy. Now, what I do is I download audio tracks from YouTube.
Mhm.
So there's free audio that you can put on. That's what I was doing earlier. I was experimenting with this one, you know, because I thought it was kind of neat.
Yeah.
To have something going on the opening, you know what I mean? Make it more dramatic.
Mhm.
But anyway, it's really, just check it out. Wondershare
Oh,
from
well, it's all, I always like playing with stuff like that. You know, just,
Yeah.
you know, it's you know, it's like, you know, playing with CAD programs, and I used to be able to use AutoCAD. You know, the learning curve now is so much more difficult on that now. So,
Well, that's something I've never done. I've never messed with that stuff.
Yeah. I have released 13 somewhere, which is a really old copy of it. So,
That's still the slide rule and the
yeah, it's not far from it.
yeah.
It is when you do a few things, then it's like, okay, you need to save it, close the program, reopen it because it's going to crash on you.
Okay. Oh, So Footage Factory, Steve saying it's either welding school or video editing school. One of the two. Once Upon a Time has sent me a message on here. He says, no mic or camera, I'm on desktop. Well, if you're on your phone, you could do it on your phone, just not as good. So once upon a time, I have to admit, I was smiling when I saw you with TIG welder. I used to be a welder, but am okay now. Yeah, I mean, I did TIG welding 25 years ago, and so I wanted to get into this, and I'll use it. I just won't be able to use it like I use the MIG. I know that.
Yeah.
But I wanted to experiment with it.
Well, and it's like I learned a MIG on a Miller box with a Cobra-matic feeder.
Okay.
I don't know if you're familiar with the Cobra-matic ones, but basically you had the welder box, and you had a separate feeder. And the Cobra-matic, it was called a Cobra-matic because the torch head kind of had that round, wide, it looked like a Cobra head. It was so finicky, it's not even funny. It was, if you could MIG with that at the time, you could MIG with anything because they were really hard to use. And the only thing that I really did like about it was, and I assume that there's ones that have it now, but it had the motor that fed it, the feeders in the unit itself, but in the handle, it had a little knob on the side of it. So you could fine tune the motor. There's a motor in the head. So you could fine tune. If you wanted just a tiny bit faster or a tiny bit slower, you could fine tune the motor in the head to help fine tune that, instead of going back to the machine. But they were super finicky. It worked great 1 minute. You'd be doing something, you shut it off, you turn it back on, and you'd be back at square one and retuning everything again.
Yeah.
Not stable at all.
I like that idea though, having it right there, because rather than trying to reach out and find the
exactly. And it was just a little cylinder about yay long, just a little cylinder sticking out. It was probably just the potentiometer is probably what it was.
Right. Sure it was.
It was just, you could just sit there and fine tune it, but it actually had a motor in the head of it. And and one of those, if you see them for sale, nobody wants them. So because they were that back then. Of course, if I had to stick weld, I don't know how that would go right now. It's been a long time since I've stick welded.
I can't tell you the last time I stick welded. It might have been 25 years ago when I did take a welding course, but the only reason I took it was to get my military money, because I had the Army College Fund, and I had to use it within 10 years of getting out. And I was like, you know what? There's money sitting there. I might as well go get it. Yeah. So I went to school until I finished off that money, and I graduated and everything. But that's the only reason I went to the welding school. And what I did, I actually took a project to the school, and it was at night. I took a 47 Studebaker truck to welding school. And so I told the instructor, who I happened to know, I said, look, I'll take your tests and do whatever you want. I'll do all the stuff, but my project is that truck sitting out there. So I built a firewall for it out of steel, and I did all kinds of stuff to it. I ended up selling the project like an idiot.
Well, but yeah, it's like a friend of mine. He teaches the AutoCAD and a whole bunch of that kind of stuff at the community college.
Yeah.
One of the campuses has a body shop class and a welding class, and obviously that's the one that's furthest away. But he said a lot of the teachers there and other people, he said, well, they'll take their cars over there and say, here, you guys, here's, you can play with it here. This is what needs to be done.
Yeah.
And they'll use it for, educational purposes. It's like, it's not the perfect best job in the world, but you didn't really pay much for it.
Right.
You paid for supplies.
Right.
And so that, that was kind of interesting. That'd be a way for, if you're over 65 and in the county, you can go take a lot of those classes for free.
Wow.
You can do what's called an audit of the class. So essentially, an audit is you don't get credit. It's not like you get a degree or anything, but you can go in and take the class. You just got to pay lab fees and that kind of stuff. But essentially, the class is free, and you can do it. And there's a lot of people do welding classes that way.
Yeah. It was funny you mentioned that. A friend of mine, when we had the body shop, he thought he was going to get into doing auto body stuff, and he went to school, and then he actually kind of did some work with me, and he was like, "That's not how they taught me in school." And I was like, "Yeah, I know." He's like, but that's not right. That's not how you do it. I said, "This is how you do it. Trust me." And he said, "Well, that's not how they taught it in school." I said, I'm telling you that it's okay, because that they are going to teach you a way to do things, but it doesn't mean it's always the best way to do things.
No, no matter what it is, there's always different ways of doing things.
Yeah.
Because every teacher is going to teach, well, this is how I do it. This is the way I'm going to teach how to do it. I had math teachers like that hated me because I could do the math in my head better, better than I could on paper. They didn't
Right. That was funny. I was always pretty good at math. Well, when I took the course at this technical school for the welding, part of the requirement to graduate was to have a psychology class, a math class, and an English class. So I signed up for all the classes to finish. Well, the way it worked out was the math class and the English class, or one of the two, math and psychology or math and whatever it was, two of them were at the same time on the same night, and the other one was so basically hold that thought.
My compressor is off.
What's that?
My compressor is off. I just turned around.
But basically, they wanted me to go a whole nother semester, because I would have had to take, let's say, English and psychology, and then the next quarter take the math class.
Mm-hmm.
But they gave you an option that said you can test out. Mm-hmm. If you can pass these tests, you're free to go on this. You get a check mark. Good to go. So I signed up for the test. Now you can't do it for psychology, obviously, but I did. I checked the math and I would check the English. Well, the professor or whatever, the instructor for the math class, I said, I'm going to take this test, and he said, "Well, good luck with that." He said, I've only had one person pass this test on the first try in, what did he say, 14 years of teaching." And I looked at him and I said, "Well, you're about to have two." And he was like, he laughed. And so I sat down, and this was at a point in my life where I had a lot of formulas still in my head from A&P school. I had a good foundation of stuff going on. So I'm taking I'm answering the questions. And I go up to him, and of course he's, all the other people are like, "This is crazy. I can't pass this," So I finished it off. I handed it to him. He kind of smirks at me, and he starts checking through. Well, I had 84 out of 100, which was passing. Okay. And I said, 84? What did I miss? And he said, "Well, this formula you did for mixing concrete was wrong." I don't even know how I remembered the concrete formula. I don't know what that was, but I had it. And he said, "This was wrong." And I said, "Why? What's wrong with it?" And he started going through it. And he said, "Well, you need to do this and this and this." And I said, "No, you're wrong." I said, I went extra steps. I broke it down into like smaller scale, and he was like, he started looking at it, and he's like, "Nobody's ever done that before." And I said, "Okay, what do I have now?" 90. And the other one, it was some formula I didn't know, but it was pretty funny. And he was like shaking his head. He said, "Well, you were right. You're only the second person in 14 years to pass this test." But that was fun. I didn't pass. I missed the English by like 4 points or something, because when you start getting into all the variables of English, no. Yeah. I mean, I was pretty good with English, but I'd forgotten all those things, past tense and, your pronouns and nouns and whatever, all that stuff. I was like, no.
And then my issue is that English teachers are so defiant on, they don't understand that the English language is fluid; it changes, and they're so stuck into this is the way it always will be. And it's like, not exactly. It does change.
Let's see. We got Gary saying, You guys watch Fitz's Fabrications, very good channel on bodywork and welding. Okay.
I ran across one of his videos the other day. He was doing what was it? A gas cap, a pickup truck. It was like a 60-something pickup truck moving the gas tank, and he took the gas cover, the whole section out of a newer truck.
Right.
Was welding it to the body of it, and pretty nice, really nice job. Really,
Yeah.
nice. And I like the method he used because he just took the whole piece and welded it on top.
Okay.
And he would tack it on in places and then do his cut, push it in, weld it back on.
Yeah, I just had a discussion with that when somebody asked me about doing quarters on a car and doing the same technique, and I said, well, that works. It does work. So Rush is saying he's got AutoCAD LT2000 on his PC. He'll have to get the wife to translate a drawing onto it from a scrap of paper.
I think I've got a copy of that too. But then again, that was back when you could own the copies of that software. Now it's a license, so you got to pay.
Really?
Yeah, it's a yearly thing you got to pay, and yeah.
Well, I think Google has some sort of free sketch.
Yeah, and there's others. I've got another one I downloaded. I haven't played with it, but looks pretty good. I just haven't, again, I downloaded it and didn't go any further with it. I might mess with it when I'm working on the jig for the car to roll it over.
Okay.
I got a few ideas on doing it differently, and I'm trying to come up with something that is different from the ones we've seen, but yet something that somebody could just go and buy the stuff and do it. And just trying to come up with something different. I got some ideas, and it just you got to draw it out, figure it out. The drill.
Yeah, from that viewpoint, I've considered taking that almost rust-free Mustang that I have, the 65, and I was trying to come up with a way to make a jig for it. But my idea was to take like, the heavy duty shelving units you see in stores or like industrial.
Yeah, the teardrop shelving or whatever you want to call it. Yeah,
they're like, I don't know, 12 feet wide or something or whatever it is. I thought about taking 2 sticks of that, laying them down on the floor to create the base, and maybe tack them together, get them squared underneath the frame rails, and then build legs at certain waypoints. Okay, so take the car that I have that's square, and let's say you pick up the first mount point for the front spring perch on the rear. You build a little jig for that is going to fit. So you set the car at a height of a foot, whatever your number wants to be off of the floor, level it and square it, put the tracks down, and build pieces, and then take that. If you wanted to, you'd make it so that those legs can either be attached, or make it so they're bolted on. So you have two bolts squared up. And my thought was, if you could come up with a way to fabricate those pieces and replicate those pieces, then you could sell that as a kit and say, here's your 0 gauge to set set these marks up on your car.
Yeah, you make all of your different pieces, sell those in a box.
Yeah.
Big long pieces. Okay, it needs to be this long, this wide, and this is your spacing that you need to do. And this one goes.
You could even use 2x4 square tubing.
Yeah.
And so you lay out the plate. I was just thinking the racks because they're cheap. You get those.
Oh yeah.
But if you had 2 sticks of 2x4 square tubing, and you say you level this out, get it, weld them together so they don't move, and then here's your points. At this point from 0, put a mark, drill a hole, set this leg, bolt it on. This is your perch.
Yeah, because then you could do the ones like, okay, you've got some of them where the locating holes in the body are already there.
Yeah.
Okay, you make one that comes across, goes up, and it's got a pin and a plate, and it just sink right into place, somewhat replicating the factory way of doing it in a way.
Right. Yeah.
That way you can just kind of set it there, and it'd be cool because you could set that up, haul that underneath the car, and it's like, oh yeah, that's off, this is off,
That's what
Even
I'm saying.
even if you don't get 100%, at least you know if something is grossly out of place.
Right. And that's what I'm saying with that car. If I had all the time to play with stuff,
Yeah.
I would dismantle that car down to the shell, which it wouldn't take much at this point. It is,
Yeah.
just bolt it together. But I mean, pull out all the suspension, pull out engine, transmission, get it down to a structure that I
Mhm.
can square off the floor and then start building pieces like that. Now, I can't sit here and build 20, 30, 40 at a time.
No.
I would probably build one for myself, but
But that if you've got all, if you build one, you got all the measurements out, and if you want to make a bunch of them, you hire it out to have a metal shop make them up for you, and
right.
yeah,
The only problem is I get real concerned with having other people do stuff.
yeah, it's you got to check their tolerances, and
if they don't get it right, then I'm the one that looks bad.
yeah, and that's the problem is you have them do it, but then you got to bring it back. You have to make your own jigs to check everything, and because you got to do all that quality control and
right.
Yeah.
And the alternative would be you make the jig, like you're saying, then you would have to sell like a blueprint.
Yeah.
This is the number. This is the real number from point A, point B, point C, this height, this size.
That's one of the problems I ran into is a lot of the drawings.
Yeah, they're all over the place.
You look at now what there's the angle dimension that goes from the front floor supports. It angles across to the hole in the rear frame rails essentially. Okay, that cross dimension. If you look it up for a 65 or 66, you look at the dimension. It's like that doesn't fit this car. You have to go and use the 67 dimension because that hole does not exist in the car.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, they didn't punch that hole. Maybe they meant to, but it didn't
right.
happen. So it's like I had to use stuff for a 67. I had to kind of grab from here and there and figure out what, because a lot of it looks like and it just don't fit.
Right.
It can't be right. Because it's 6 inches. It'll make the car 6 inches.
Glad you're here, Doug. Yeah, we're at a point where it's almost 2 hours, so that's going to be my cutoff.
And I can't sit on this stool any longer. And somebody else needs to get on here and talk next time.
Well, there's only a few minutes left, so.
Next time.
Yeah. So Guido, good afternoon, guys. Barry installed a 1-inch lowering block on driver's rear. It leveled off, sitting perfect 1/2 on both sides. Good. All right, Guido. Yeah, he was trying to level out his fastback and was having issues. That's awesome. Bob,
That's right.
That's the growing problem, getting people to do a job right and on spec. Yep. That's why I'd have a hard time farming it out. I just don't. Anything I do anymore, I don't trust anybody to do it right.
Yeah.
But anyway, all right. So about a minute left. So Robert, I'm going to sign you off.
All right.
And,
later.
I'm glad you were here. We'll do this again. I'll be on Monday night at 7. And if nobody else wants to jump in, you're welcome to come back in here and tell us about getting a haircut.
It's much lighter now.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's good talking to you. We'll see you later.
Good to see you.
All right. All right. So glad Robert was here. As I said, 2-hour mark is my cutoff today. I went a little bit over the 3-hour on Monday, which is fine. That was fine. But that's where we're at today. And okay, so Doug sent me an email with the jig he built. Good. Yep, we'll see you on Monday, Leonard. And Once Upon a Time is checking out. And yes, Jorge, yes, thank you. Don't forget about Amazon. So as mentioned previously, and I'll mention it again, if you want to order something from Amazon, even if it's not car parts, even if it's just, whatever, anything, go to my YouTube page, go up in the top banner, and I'm going to do this. It'll be up in the right banner. So where the banner is, as you're looking at the screen, it's up in the right-hand corner. There's a link, a little hyperlink to Amazon and Patreon and my Instagram page. So if you click on that Amazon link, it'll take you to my Amazon page. And if you decide to buy anything else, you want to buy toys, you want to buy a radio, anything that you get from that point on, it will give me a little credit to my Amazon page. Or if you go to Amazon and you fill up your shopping cart, you know, you want to buy a bunch of stuff and you have a shopping cart, before you place that order, go to my YouTube channel, click on my Amazon link, and then buy your order from your shopping cart. Doesn't cost you any extra, and it gives me a little kickback and helps out the channel. So thank you, Jorge, for bringing that up. Gary, we'll see you. And nobody, glad you were here. So that's going to be it. And we'll see you on Monday. So take care of yourselves, and we'll see you in about 4 days. Bye.